Hello, everyone. Juxtaposition here. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you like this type of content. Really appreciate it. Okay, I wanted to follow up on the Erin Valenti case just to clarify a few, I think, essentially key points so you can understand, like why this case hasn't progressed, and why it's not being discussed on national television. I mean, I believe there's a reason. It's a really important case, and it's completely and utterly hidden. And as you know, I get worked up when I see injustice, and I see things that the public should, the public is subjected to 24/7 entertainment fake news. And the Aaron Valenti story is real and it's authentic. And there's real people and victims involved in this case. And her whereabouts, the people she worked with, what she was doing in September and October 2019 before the COVID thing happened, I think they're important and they're relevant for those people who care about the truth. I realize most people don't, and not, they don't have the brain power and they don't have the empathy to understand, that someone's daughter or wife was murdered. And that's too bad. But anyway, but I do care, so I'm going to do this. So, a couple things. Now, and I learned this from the Zodiac psych ops killings back in 1969 when I was a paper boy. Whilst that was going on, we also had the moon landing, which conveniently was sequenced right in there in between Zodiac events and the Sharon Tate, Abigail Folger Illuminati bayonet murders. And then we had, Woodstock, and then we had the My Lai massacre being reported, even though it was 18 months after the fact. Better late than never, right? But it was pretty scary. 504 people, innocent women, children, pregnant women, murdered with bayonets and M16 rifles. Operation Phoenix, CIA program, a CIA program, a security clearance program involving murdering civilians. Oh yeah, that's a fact. That's not up for debate. It's a fact. And then we have William Colby who confirmed that fact. And then he got whacked, in his kitchen halfway through his meal of steamed clams and steamed corn on the cob. And then they said, oh, he went canoeing at 9 o'clock at night. Yeah, but then he magically disappeared for 9 days and Navy SEALs couldn't find his life jacket. And they searched for 3 to 4 days. And then after they went home, then William Colby reappeared like magic. It's not too different than Erin Valenti. She went missing when her cell phone turned off, at about 1 o'clock in the morning New York time when she told her parents, it's it's all a thought experience. It's all a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix. And then that was the end of Erin Valenti's communications. And she disappeared for 5 days and then magically appeared. So I have 3 points I want to make. The first point is that I think that the criminal activity that resulted in the homicide death of Erin Valenti started in the city of Menlo Park in the county of San Mateo. Remember, she spent her last night at the Nest Hotel in the city of Palo Alto near Stanford University. Now, that's in Santa Clara County, and it's right next to Sand Hill Road, which is in San Mateo County. So you have San Mateo County and Santa Clara County come together right where Erin Valenti's hotel, The Nest, is located on El Camino Real. And she was technically in Santa Clara County. And obviously, she was fine. She checked out. She got a late checkout. She drove her rent-a-car to get gas. Then she drove over the 5-mile drive total from her hotel to the executive parking lot on Sand Hill Road, which would have taken her less than 10, 12 minutes. 12 minutes. And she's in San Mateo County. and she's in the city of Menlo Park. And I believe there was criminal activity that occurred on Sand Hill Road. That's what I believe. Okay. And then, she speaks to her mother, can't find her car, then finds the car. Then the navigation system doesn't work, and her fuel gauge shows empty when she just filled up the car, an hour and a half ago before her 90-minute meeting, where undoubtedly somebody offered her something to drink. Okay. And then she gets a little confused. Or maybe she's not confused. Maybe somebody moved her car and tampered with her car, adding or subtracting transponders. I don't know. We do know that the rent-a-car company that she rented from and the bank financing flooring agent for that rent-a-car company could not find that car for the 5 days, even though they have tracking transponders on that 2020 Nissan Marano premium package, $51,000 car. Why would they not, upon learning the news that their customer has gone missing, the parents are concerned, the husband is concerned, they're saying that she's missed her plane flight, so obviously she hasn't returned the car, and they're saying she's not going to return the car until we find her. So upon hearing that news, I would look at the transponder telemetry data on that car that's a $51,000 car, and I would track the car. And because we know the car is within 16 miles, well, it was found about 16 miles away from where she picked up the car at the San Jose airport. It was found 16 miles south of the airport in Almaden Valley. So the transponder, there's so many 5G towers, and there's way too many, to tell you the truth. They should get rid of 95% of those transponders. You'd still be able to track that Erin Valenti car. But the point is, it's overkill because they're building this matrix of Wi-Fi, and they are just wanting to measure every little bunny rabbit in the field of that Silicon Valley area. And so, anyway, so that's an invisible hand that is deliberately on purpose, not trying to find Erin. Deliberately on purpose, not looking for Erin when they can. She's got a cell phone. She's got an expensive car. Anyway, my point is that whoever planned this operation was doing the exact same thing as the Zodiac did. In other words, you commit the crime in different legal jurisdictions. So in the case of Erin Valenti, you have, I believe, a crime that happened in the city of Menlo Park. They have a municipal police department. That's the county of San Mateo. They have a sheriff's department. They also have a district attorney. So they have three law enforcement agencies where I believe the crime occurred. Number two is Erin's car was found in Almaden Valley, which is in the city of San Jose in Santa Clara County. So there they have the city of San Jose Police Department who's going to take charge, and then they have a sheriff's department which is going to stand down, and then they have a district attorney of the Santa Clara County, which would you'd think be interested since a young 33-year-old woman was found dead in their county, but they don't seem terribly interested. And then finally, we have the city of Palo Alto, where she stayed at the Nest Hotel, and they don't seem interested either in this mysterious disappearance of a person who spent their last night in their city and went missing. And they don't seem to be involved in this voluntary missing case. That if there's such a thing as a person voluntarily going missing, that's an oxymoron. You can involuntarily go missing, but you can never volunteer to go missing. Nobody volunteers to go missing. Maybe they go on vacation, but that's not voluntary going missing. That's just going on vacation. Now, whether you tell people you're going on vacation, that might be a clue. In this case, Erin said she was flying home and she was going to get an award, on Wednesday, which I think is October 9th, and she was going to maybe give a speech. So her plan is to go back to Salt Lake City. So anything that's other than going back to Salt Lake City would not be voluntary. That will be involuntary. I mean, that's just me using common sense. But you see how confusing it is. All the law enforcement people can just keep do the finger pointing. Oh no, it's not my jurisdiction. I'm sorry, I can't help you. That's what happened in Zodiac. In Zodiac, you had 4 different events that were in 6 different legal jurisdictions, and none of the detectives spoke to each other until like a year and a half, 2 years after the last event. And of course, by then, there's no murder weapons. Everything's been cleaned up, everything's been scrubbed. You're not gonna be able to prove anything. And that was deliberate. That was deliberate on purpose. And we have that situation with Erin Valenti because now 2 years have gone by and everyone's forgot all about this case because it wasn't nationally reported. And we had COVID. And now we got the Ukrainian war and vax mandates and mask mandates and all the mixed messaging going on to create this MK Ultra matrix of chaos, which is deliberately done on purpose. It's deliberately done on purpose to get people to capitulate. It's called pacification and control. It's called people giving up and surrendering. It's called techno enslavement. It's a form of techno feudalism. And that's what's going on. So, anyway, the case of the Erin Valenti was deliberately on purpose, spread between 7 different law enforcement agencies, none of whom really want to cooperate with each other. And they all have quotas, they all function on quotas. So, there's nothing to be gained by cooperating. This idea of law enforcement cooperating is sort of a myth because how they get paid is not related to how well they work together. They have a jail, they want to fill the jail up. So generally you deal with poor people who can't make their bail bond and you fill that jail up. And that makes those numbers look good. And then the court system, they do 99% plea agreements because that way the lawyers don't actually have to read the files and the judges don't have to pay attention. They can pretend like they're awake when they're sleeping and go home real early on Friday, try to get out of there at 10:30 in the morning. Do 90, start work at 9 o'clock and then look for the exit at 10:30. I mean, I am not exaggerating. And so, I mean, it's a stupid job. You're railroading poor people. They work on a plea agreement system and they want to get their convictions up. So, and people don't want to go to trial and the juries aren't interested in volunteering to be held hostage for 1, 2, 3 weeks and not get paid. Oh, you get free parking. So Erin's case falls into the category of throwing a monkey wrench into law enforcement because right at the lowest levels, they're not going to cooperate. At the highest levels, they have the invisible hand. In case anyone actually did do an investigation of Erin Valenti, it would be stopped at some point or need a security clearance that is above their pay grade, and then it would essentially be thwarted. That's very standard policy in all things and all these big corporations. Okay, number 2 is surveillance. I believe that Erin was under 2 types of surveillance, technical and human. Technical being the transponders on her car, her cell phone, and whatever she was given to drink or maybe touched with some powder on her body or in her belly, or she was given an injection or something with some nanotechnology, aluminum, titanium, lithium oxide nanoparticles, in which makes tracking her that much easier and makes her Wi-Fi sensitive, radio frequency sensitive. And I believe her car, her phone, and possibly her body was being monitored. Okay. And the 5G system all assist with that. Number 2 is I believe she was being personally followed and or a fake colleague was with her as a passenger or as a driver, having Erin be a passenger. Maybe they put Erin in the back seat. Maybe there was 2 people in the car in the front seat and the passenger seat, and maybe Erin was in the back seat. That's where she was found. She was in the back seat when she was discovered 5 days later on October 12th on Saturday morning. So, because the fact that she went missing minimum of 7 hours from when her cell phone allegedly battery died, which again, I have a problem with that. She's in a 2020 Nissan Marano. She can keep her cell phone fully charged while she's in that car, even without a cord. They have Wi-Fi charging capabilities in that model. $51,000 Nissan SUV, that's a premium car. And she's tech savvy. So I'm not buying that her cell phone died. Not buying that. But I am telling you, I did the drive from Erin's last appointment at Sand Hill Road to where her car was found on, um, trying to think of the name of that street, Bose Lane, which is off Camden Avenue. And I did that drive, and the way I did that drive is turned right from the parking lot from 2500 Sand Hill Road, and I went, 400 yards up the street, got on Highway 280, went south to Highway 85, continued to the right, south, exited Camden Avenue, turned right onto Camden Avenue, went down Camden Avenue. They do have a number of traffic lights. I hit a couple reds, I hit a couple greens, and you get down there about, oh, I don't know, mile and a half, hit the brakes. You're approaching Almaden Expressway, but before that, just before that is Bose Lane. Turn right, go down one complete block, and then go half of the next block, and that's where Erin's car was parked, walking distance to the Almaden Municipal Golf Course. Anyway, it took me 27 minutes to make the drive to where Erin's rent-a-car was parked. Took me 27 minutes. Okay, and it was similar traffic that she would have experienced. Anyway, her last conversation to her parents was 7 hours later at 10 o'clock at night local time, which is 7 hours, after her appointment ended. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning New York time. And so I want to know, what is she doing for 6.5 hours? Because I know it can't be driving to where her car was parked. Her last words were, "It's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the matrix." Well, I think that is 100% accurate. I think Erin nailed that. There's no doubt she was 100% correct. But I don't think that she was alone uh, between 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. local time, California time, Pacific Standard Time. She was either being followed, shadowed, tracked, or accompanied with human beings, to back up this plan. Because I think the plan is that Erin's not going to be able to have a social media post regarding the Control Labs transaction, the Meta Universe, Facebook, the broker, the banker that put this deal together, the partners that are all going to be getting paid, of which Google and Amazon are players in this, as well as Paul Allen Volkin and Thomas Reardon, who's a founder of Control Labs, and his partners, which he has several. And I see a strong correlation here from the same as I see with William Colby, who was in retirement but married to a woman 25 years younger than him, and he's not coming into the office anymore. And he's talking and he's writing articles and he's on his computer and he's occasionally doing lectures. Doesn't always tell the truth. In fact, he seldom tells the truth. But the fact is, he's talking and he's meeting people, and maybe he's having something to drink. And so he was murdered. And now he was 76 years old. But they've done this they did it to Roberto Calfi. He was 62 years old. They did this to Michele Sindona. He was 66 years old. Now, would they do that to a 33-year-old? Yeah. Yeah, they would. If she's not on board. I mean, she left the institutions that were indoctrinated her. She was indoctrinated at Georgetown. She was indoctrinated at Summit Partners. I'm sure that she was believed things that were not true, that they told her were true about the investment business. Those people have no clue what they're doing. They're following a paint by numbers program. They're in the sales business. They're trying to get as many deposits as possible to maximize their investment fee income. That's got nothing to do with being a good investment advisor. They're completely disconnected. The compensation model has nothing to do with your performance. They're completely disconnected. If it was connected, they would base it on some kind of a profit sharing commission model, which Wall Street doesn't want to go anywhere near that. They've pivoted to asset gathering, holding your assets hostage, selling you proprietary products so you don't move them. I know way too much about the so-called financial services industry, but it is very much, they have more sales products than they have products. In other words, there's only so many stocks and bonds available, but then they can create unlimited derivative products, mutual funds, funds of funds, index funds, derivative put and sell up. They can create so much gobbledygook poppycock, which that's what that is. The financial service industry is 80% fake products and 20% real things that you can touch and feel. And they won't let you touch and feel them because they won't let you into Bankers Trust Company in Manhattan. They won't let you in there to look at your stuff. So they got you coming and going. And that's the world that Erin Valenti initially entered. And you'll notice that she went to do her own thing in the artificial intelligence area in software development and programming. And then she partnered with Control Labs, who then sold to Facebook for between 500 million and $1 billion in less than 4 years. That company started in 2015, and you're saying it's worth almost $1 billion in less than 5 years. I mean, that's wackadoodle craziness. But it's a monopoly matrix, a world of fake money. So what's $1 billion amongst bankers, really? As long as you're getting paid. Don't rock the boat. And I could see a 33-year-old independent thinking woman, maybe starting to question the narrative. That's what it's all about. Just follow, don't question, obey, listen and obey. And maybe Erin Valenti is kind of like me. She doesn't like to obey when it doesn't make sense, or it might be nefarious or malicious or unkind. So we need to stick up for people like Erin Valenti. I think she was brave, and I think that they ganged up on her. I think she was ganged up on, and I don't think she was ganged up by women. I think a bunch of men ganged up on her. Anyway, I can't prove that. I'm not saying I can, but I certainly can ask these questions, and I hope you do too. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please hit the like or subscribe button if this is the type of content you want. Thank you very much.